CIO News. I'm Khushbu Soni, your host for the broadcast and a contributing editor at CIO News, where we write about business strategy and boardroom issues for technology leaders. This is a recorded session and will be available on our website, which is cionews.co.in, and our CIO News LinkedIn handle. This is an exclusive fireside chat powered by Avaya on transformation through customer experience. Businesses are built with experiences they provide, and every day millions of those experiences are delivered by Avaya. Avaya is shaping what's next for the future of work with innovation and partnership that deliver game-changing business benefits. Let me dive in introducing my guest for today. He is Aliasgar Karachiwala, Senior Vice President and Head Technology Solutions Group at RBL Bank. He's a techno-functional leader, acting as a bridge between IT and business for over 19 years. With his experience, Ali has helped organizations improve the resource productivity, system performance, cost efficiency, and most importantly, customer experience. Ali has rich experience of designing over multiple systems for retail banking with focus on digitization and automation. Welcome, Ali.
Thank you very much.
We also have Nilesh Marathe. He's a solution specialist at Avaya. Nilesh is an avid CX advocate and has rich experience in providing contact center and workforce optimization solutions. Welcome, Nilesh.
Thank you, Khushbu.
Over to you, Nilesh, to drive the fireside chat with Ali.
Sure, thank you. And Ali, welcome on this particular session. And thank you so much for taking time to be with us on this forum. So, the world is going through, the pandemic, as we all know. Just taking that context a little bit, when the lockdown started, all of a sudden, majority of the organizations started moving. They started working from home, and initial 15 days, 1 month were pretty hectic for everybody, right? People were struggling to move the workforce from how will they work from home? What about the processes? What about the compliances, data security, etc. There's so many things you had to factor on. So, what was your experience? How did you go through that? Could you share your experience? How did you cope up with the situation, and how you are doing it today? First initial few days, and then how you are stabilized, because work from home is still a norm. So how you are handling that particular situation today? So your experience, please.
So, thanks, Nilesh. I think this is an important question, and all of us has also got an opportunity to be part of this phenomenon. So, as it is rightly said, unprecedented times calls for unprecedented actions. And I think the same situation was right now. So, majority of the staff actually became remote workers, and the dependency on technology just took a new meaning altogether. Technology solutions, if I may focus, became a center stage, which was like never before. Our digital transaction numbers, multiplied significantly. And in order to manage that with the remote workers, there were many acrobatics which were needed, that too in a very short time. Now to ensure all this, to ensure systems were available and they are running securely, efficiently, and effectively. If I talk about if in RBL, we just did not stop working even in the strictest of lockdown. Even as our transaction volumes and our change requests increased drastically, we did we took some major decisions. We made some substantial, changes in our environment. One being, we did move to our databases to Exadata. We upgraded many of our systems. We took a huge shift in our AMS strategy. There was transformation in many parts of our core infra. So all these were handled, okay, and they were, but all these were handled in these challenging times, that too with dramatically shortened timelines. While we were continuing, on our part of our vision, to be the bank of choice, we had a focus on the 4 pillars of our the culture which we have here of customer, employees, community, shareholder. Okay, but this pandemic, it just altered the equilibrium abruptly. Okay, and created a strong turbulence in the entire environment within and outside the bank. This crisis, demanded something which is highly agile. We had to, adopt the same. There was no choice. Okay, so during this time, it allowed us to, concentrate on our resources and put the efforts correctly. We made some few productive moves. We mobilized our support. We put in place some flexible structures which meets the demands of this crisis. So the focus was actually to in fact we established a connection in such a way with business and IT that we focus on the immediate and not the long term or medium term. The focus was at that point of time to focus on the immediate. Some of the basic steps I will tell you what we did to respond to this entire situation. First is we built an emergency response team for taking key decisions. So instead of following the long term, we generally in bank the approval process are pretty long. So we had an emergency response team to take key decisions. We were regularly reviewing and updating our current BCPs as the situation was highly fluid and was changing every day. We set up a committee which was gathering accurate and up-to-date information from trusted sources. And we were cascading it down to all the business functions so as to minimize the risk of misinformation, wrong information, WhatsApp universities, etc. Then at the same time, there was a team which was focusing to assess the company's exposure to various risks associated with the third parties, whether they are directly or indirectly depending on the bank. Last two things which we did was constant communication, a systematic communication, positive communication, transparent communication with all our employees, clients, suppliers. Everybody was talking the same language, and we were absolutely transparent of what we were talking to all the people, whether directly, indirectly, dependent, or affected by the bank. And the most important, it's like which is the employee. See, initial days we understood that it was crisis, the excitement was right, but then it was a continuous pressure. So we took, we had assistance program for employee health, mental well-being, etc. HR also took a lot of the initiatives to, discuss issues with the employees and their families, etc. So I think those steps really helped us to deliver what the bank wanted, at the same time maintaining the well-being of the employee. Coming to, since this seems to be we don't see this going very soon, and this environment may continue for some time. Being a bank, we had to deploy a comprehensive, in order to monitor the employees which are working in the work from home model. We had to deploy a comprehensive, convenient cloud-based PC monitoring software in order to track the time employees spend on their task by using a desktop agent based on active window concept. Then we set and communicated clear goals and deadlines in the same way which we used to do in the physical workspace. We started evaluating quality and quantity instead of time worked. The metrics were shifted to tasks accomplished with and their quality versus the hours spent. We started tracking the achievements and not just the time. At the same time, we had a robust, IT system, IT infra in place with necessary safeguards, including the safe transmission of confidential data outside the workplace. Computers which were used for work had proper software installed, including antivirus protection, secure VPNs, and firewalls against the cyber threats. Lastly, tracking of our most sensitive assets like employees or our outsourced employees or the employees which are on contract. We were monitoring the exchange of information on various platforms through these software, which were in alignment with the policy of the company. I think these were some of the steps which we had to take to comply with the guidelines, as well as ensuring that our data is secured. Nilesh, I guess you're mute.
Oh, fantastic. Sorry, so it usually happens. So thanks for that comprehensive answer, Ali. Just one thing, I'm glad to see that you have taken measures from data security. Being a bank, right? That's one of the critical factor. The employees working from home access the data. Did you have a challenge in terms of the right employees are accessing the data, or we pretty much trusted the employees? It's like you're working from home, whether the agent is working or his brother or sister is working, somebody is just hypothetically, I'm just checking. Did you go through, because these people are accessing the customer information, maybe, right? So was there anything concern on those sorts, or how is what was it?
No, we never came across any such incident which had, which captured this kind of situations. However, we were also evaluating the situation of capturing the photographs, or regular blinks of photographs when people are working from home. But there were discussions which may involve around the privacy of the resource. So,
Yeah.
but in the last couple of months, we haven't encountered any such situation.
Right. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, right? Whether you want to go to that extent, and
Yes.
then there are
Yes.
data
And I
security is
think
at, but what about
trust
the
plays
people?
an important factor here. And as far as data was concerned, we were, I think, quite sure of our own policies there.
Sorry, makes sense. So one thing is, you mentioned in your answer somewhere cloud. So I want to jump to the cloud topic. How do you see the transition to cloud happening? I know some of your applications that you use are on your data center. Some, what is your take on migration to the cloud? How do you see specifically the banking industry moving to the cloud? How does the cloud adoption happening?
Yeah, I think before I would like to move and answer that question. I'm quite excited and to give an example of so last year, okay, not just pre-COVID, okay, just pre-COVID, okay, moving to cloud, any application we move to cloud, okay, generally the apprehension is about data security, etc., and the number of days it may take for the entire migration. So all these apprehensions and that basic belief or that legacy issues we have in our mind. We got a challenge from our senior management, okay, and considering all the aspects. In uh, 10 days, okay, not the critical one, in 10 days, let's migrate 10 applications on cloud, which was an impossible task at that point of time. You won't believe, but in 10 days, we were able to migrate 10 applications to cloud. And then as part of the phase two, we called that project 10 in 10, and then we had another project called 1330. So practically in
Wow.
40 days, rather I'll say 33 days, okay, we implemented 40 applications on cloud.
Quite impressive. Yeah.
So I think that's how the bank is in terms of moving to the new technology. But coming specifically to answer your question, see, cloud migration, if I say as a concept, okay, there are various types of cloud migration. First, if I say, it's typically we call a lift and shift, which means to get out of the data center. The lift and shift approach is generally for the organizations which are looking to get out of the data center and stop managing the hardware. Second could be a shifting to a SaaS model, software as a service. So this is where this is generally applicable for companies who want to stop, devoting their time and resources to applications which are outside their core business. Third is, application refactoring, or we may call it app modernization. This is a preferred approach for organizations that have specific applications which could benefit from cloud. One more is your re-platforming, or generally for the new businesses, where you actually develop the application itself in cloud. So re-platforming is for companies who are looking to embrace the benefits of clouds, enterprise-wide. But in banks, generally, most of the banks you will find they are taking a hybrid cloud model approach, where critical applications if they are moved to cloud, okay, they are the critical applications and processes are migrated to private clouds where there is enhanced security features, and the non-critical applications are migrated to public cloud for cost efficiency and agility, etc.
All right.
Now,
So
yeah,
you're essentially, sorry to cutting you off, but just to for the benefit of audience, so you're saying so you're looking at both the cloud model is not the just a cloud or public, everything is not public cloud. So you, from application security perspective, you are open to move or look at the private cloud, and there is a set of application that go on a public cloud.
depending on the type of the application and what kind of data it has.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Sorry, you wanted to continue with your insights, or
No, I'm saying everybody know that why we have to move to cloud. So people know the benefit. Now I don't think we have to sell cloud. There was a time couple of years back where we had to actually most of the software companies had to sell cloud by exposing the benefits of cloud. I think that most of the people know. Okay,
true.
but I think one of your question was what are the factors which we need to consider? Okay, while migrating to cloud. Okay, I did explain, what are the different types of cloud migration, but what are the factors which we should consider? Okay, while identifying the application which you want to move to cloud. Okay, well, cloud is good, but is it compatible with your application or the environment?
Right.
Is the cost versus ROI good enough? Business impact, okay, performance, licensing, your SLA, security, your disaster recovery. I think all these factors you need to consider when you intend to plan have a path for cloud migration. I think that's is something which I would like to.
Perfect. Thank you. And in fact, that was going to be my follow-up question, but thank you for bringing that up front. So just one thing, just touching going back to the pandemic lockdown during that period, we saw most of our customers focusing on the digital channels. Hey, we can't access things physically, you can't move around. So the focus was on digital channels. So what was your experience? How did you leverage digital channel, because the branches were closed, right? And people couldn't travel. The public transport was now just opening up. So what was your digital strategy? Did you leverage digital channel? Was it a factor for you? What was your experience?
Sure. So one is, as from a bank point of view, we were in the process of, introducing new channels for the customers, other than of course our branch contact center, and though our contact center was also working, but we we were effectively monitoring our mobile banking, internet banking, okay, because obviously the pressure on that had increased. So we had our infra and all those things in play, and we're continuously monitoring that so that the service lines doesn't get impacted. We did introduce a chat-based model. We introduced WhatsApp banking to deliver, services now. But so I think we did focus on a lot of alternate channels, okay, so that customer doesn't have to go here and there, and he doesn't become handicapped without actually the branch.
Hmm. Okay.
And I think your question was more about, I think, digital transformation. Digital channels, yes, I did mention, but I think digital transformation and digital channels are little different. It is more to do. It cannot be achieved overnight. I think it is a continuous process. Okay. Yeah. So I think it requires your IT environment to be extremely agile and flexible.
Yeah.
And otherwise, digital transformation will be just a presentation slide, not much more than that.
Yeah. So speaking of digital transformation, what are the major key things that you see as everybody is on the journey of reinventing itself? Basically, transformation is about reinventing the organization or doing things, looking at embracing the new technologies. So how do you see, what are your milestones in that journey? Are you looking at AI analytics tools, the new technology capabilities, leveraging those in your business? How do you see that journey or transformation in your experience happening at RBL?
Okay, so for digital transformation, I think as I said, you need an agile, flexible IT environment. Obviously, that is a must for all the organization now. Okay, but from a customer standpoint, okay, it requires to build a personalized customer experience. For example, CRM system. Without CRM, you cannot treat your customers as individuals. Without storing the history of how your business interacts with them, it is impossible to create a unique experience for that customer. Okay, so that's the major piece I will say. Now coming to the analytics piece, analytics is you want me to talk about analytics or AI, because there are two actually independent parallel items which are very critical for digital transformation.
Can talk about both.
Sure. So I think analytics, the way I look at it, okay, is it has to do with the customer journey. Okay, customer journey. Everybody, all the organization, whether bank or non-bank or NBFC, any are building customer journeys on various platforms. Correct. Now,
Correct.
in this platform, if you notice, it is actually an opportunity for various organizations to capture data of the customer. Where the customer, whether it is on real-time basis, directly or getting it sourced through API through some other organization. Okay, it is all through all this customer journey, they are actually collecting data. Right now, from analytics point of view, if you don't use this data, okay, then there is no point. If you do not have an analytics platform, okay, then there is no need or no point of having a digital journey, because you will never be able to go to the second step. Yes, you created a platform for the journey, but you will never be able to move to the second step because you have not analyzed the data which you have captured. You don't know how the customer will behave next. What is his expectation? So analytics is extremely important. Yes, you should capture the right data, but start using that data. Right? I think AI. I know it sounds cliche, but it's extremely powerful. Okay, it's a powerful customer experience tool when especially used in combination with the digital journey. AI just not it's not it not only improves performance, but it's a good indirect way of data collection. Okay, I think Gartner said it's that AI can help you analyze customer sentiment. Okay, and gather the feedback of the customer, not individual but at scale, with the precision and the speed which humans cannot achieve, which I completely agree. Okay, AI helps us in uncovering or understanding those certain parameters of the customer which we may not be able to ever achieve through traditional analytics or manual assessment. There will be some nuances which we will not get it. Hence, AI plays an important role. Let's take the example of some of the salespersons or call center agents or employees who are in a customer facing role. So we do not expect them to understand understand the entire. They may have the data of the customer history or through their CRM system or anything where, but we do not expect them to understand that history and derive their and have their own insight on real time basis. Similarly, even if you build an application, it cannot be hand programmed with rules for different customer histories. It is at this stage, where AI plays a perfect role in customer experience in defining all of it, using all the data points of this various journeys which varied customer histories.
Agree, completely agree. So that's some of the things that we have seen, in the industry are, especially in a contact center using AI, figuring out while the conversation is going on between the agent and customer, deriving
Hmm.
insights from the live call, and then taking action, suggesting action to the agent or escalating it to the supervisor based on how the conversation is going on exactly, between the agent and supervisor. Also, the customer journey analytics in terms of how the customer is engaging with the organizations, and then when the customer then gets in touch with the organization through any other channel, maybe the customer journey, you rightly said, what happened on the previous channel, maybe that insight can be used on how we serve the customer on the whichever channel the customer is getting engaged with the organization, right? So those are some of the things that we have seen, the customers implementing across the industries. But yeah, in line with what you are saying. So couldn't agree with you more on those. So speaking about the customer experience, the customer journey ultimately paves way for the better customer experience. So how do you measure it? The NPS. There are CSAT surveys everyone does. There are NPS scores. What is your experience? What practices you are following in measuring customer experience? How do you measure it in? What is the practice followed at your organization? If you can throw some insights on those.
Um, See, we are also customers, okay, and our expectations has changed significantly. For example, if a Swiggy guy, okay, or a Zomato guy delivers, 10 minutes late, it disturbs us. If Uber guys or Ola driver comes 10 minutes late, it disturb, us. It is not aligned with our expectation because our expectation has significantly changed. Okay, so most customers today expect the business they encounter, okay, to embrace the new technologies, okay, and to ensure that their purchase process or their journey is much more easier and more efficient. Okay, the way they evaluate, okay, while engaging or transacting with us, okay, has completely transformed. Okay, it is now highly competitive, it is digital, it is mobile first, okay, where the only thing important is the user experience. So I think customer experience is the only should be the only USP of any organization in the current scheme of things.
It is a competitive advantage. Many organizations consider CX as a competitive advantage.
Correct, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, please, yours is.
Yeah. So coming to the question of how do we CX is a buzzword. How do you measure it? I mean, what are the key things that you measure from a CX perspective? Because as you rightly said, for the food delivery, the delivery time is one of the key parameter of measuring customer experience. For banks, maybe uptime, accessing, it's different for different organizations. So just want to have your view. What are the key three things or two things that are important for you? How do you measure your customer experience? These are the things those are my
Correct.
three that drives my customer experience. So
So I think the model remains same. Typically, your CSAT scores, NPS scores. You may also have programs for customer loyalty, customer retention. Okay, you may also focus on advocacy by the customers. So these are the normally the programs or the measures which most of the organizations take. Okay, but okay, let me explain this. By giving an example. Okay. How you use these model for your customer measurement, customer experience measurement is very important. So let me explain that by giving an example. Let's say you're expecting a product delivery, okay, and you call into the customer care center and to get an update. Now before hanging up, the agent asks you to recommend the company and to capture the NPS score. Now you haven't even received the delivery. Okay, there are 100 things could go right or wrong. Okay, you are yet to finish that journey. Your experience is still incomplete. Okay, things can go right, things can go right or wrong. So using customer journey, this is where again your analytics can come into play. Okay, using your customer journey analytics, you can actually visualize, you can analyze the most important points of interaction. You should identify where should I ask, and from the customers only where their opinion matters most. Because if I ask in the start, okay, it really doesn't matter, what he will give. I'll give one example. Similar thing. Okay. Say you want to capture a feedback after a customer, calls you in your call center. Now, to do this, generally, okay, you are likely to pass the customer to an IVR platform to capture the feedback of the call. Generally, okay. But this may not be the best way for the customer because he's already be in line with you with an agent. First, he waited for 10 minutes, then he spoke to the agent for 5 minutes. 15 minutes, he's already, talking to you. He's not interested. The only thing he or she wants is actually but to hang up and get on with his or her life. Okay, so maybe an SMS or a brief email
would probably produce a better result. Hence, it is important, that you use your customer journey analysis again, to discover those preferred channels or the time way to interject, using your CX text stack or what
Yeah.
technology.
Yeah, yeah, brilliant, brilliant. I think that's the earlier that the insight you mentioned about use analytics, where the customer is in his or her journey is important factor in when do you ask that question, I think, yeah, that's quite relevant, quite insightful. Thank you for that. But if you ask me personally, the best feedback comes from the customer without asking it, right? When you're not asking for the customer,
True.
that's insights
True.
that customer provides typically. But yeah, thank you, Ali, for your insights on what's going through at your organizations. What are the practices that you are implementing? It's been a splendid conversation. Khushbu, you want to add from your end? I think we are pretty much on time with this, but few words from you.
Awesome. So, great. I think this was a very insightful session, Ali. Great question, Nilesh. Ali, I think this insight is something which is required by all the banks, sharing best practices of the whole journey that we have been through, and everybody's kind of been on the same boat, facing same kind of challenges. So, sharing best practices is something that is very, very key at this moment. So, thank you so much for giving your great insights. And thank you for being part of our fireside chat today.
Thank you very much for calling. Thank you.